Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Russ with Wrenching with Russ. Today we're going to show you how to change the door handles on a 2006 Pontiac Solstice. Alright, first thing you're going to do is open the door. You're going to take off the inside door panel. There's about 3 or 4 different spots where you're going to have to take the screws out. We're showing you right here. One is at the door handle. One's at the actual lever for the door handle at the front. So you just want to take these screws out. And then there's 2 screws at the bottom here. And there's one at the end of the door panel. We already took it out, but I'm going to show you where it's at. It's right here on the end. You want to make sure you take that out. Then after you get the screws out of your panel, make sure your window is up, because you're going to have to get to the screws to the handle, so you're going to have to work through the door panel. So make sure your window's up, and then start at the bottom, because it's easier to actually pop these panels off. You'll break these little plastic tips off if you don't. But you want to start at the bottom, and you want to unsnap them. And if you've got a door panel tool, I would use that instead of a screwdriver. Right here we're using a screwdriver, but it's not very effective. So once you get the door panel enough where you can get your hands down in there, then you want to do like we did and just kind of get mad at it and give it a good yank. Okay, now that you got your door panel off, first thing you want to do is you want to use a magnetic socket. I think this is 10 millimeter, but definitely get you a magnetic socket, because you're going to have to reach through this door panel. And if you don't have one, you're going to spend most of the day trying to fish these nuts out of the bottom of the door. So there's a set of nuts that hold the handle on, and 2 bolts. I think 2 or 3 bolts. And you reach through the inside of the door. As you can see, with a magnetic socket, they come right out. And the one I'm showing my son right here it's way up in there. You have to kind of tilt this at an angle. You can't really see it visibly straight across. But the one on the end of the door handle is kind of in an up position. So once you locate that, that's going to be your last screw coming out. And now the door handle comes off. So you pull the door handle off, and it's going to have the metal latch. As you can see there, it's got like a wire that's kind of bent on an angle. That goes in the door handle itself. That's what activates it. And then you just reverse the process with the new handle, and it just snaps back on. And then it locks in the front. It's got these little tabs on the front. You want to slide those in first. Careful not to break them. And then you want to line your lock hole up. And then your handle's on. Now you just want to reverse the process. You want to put your bolts back in. You might have to do like we did and get a long screwdriver. Kind of line up the holes. And don't over tighten these. You got to remember this is just a plastic piece. It's got a fake chrome on it. Doesn't take much to break it. You can get these sets too on Amazon. We get all this stuff off Amazon. We don't get paid for that. We're no affiliation, but they have the best prices. I think we got both sets of these handles for like 30 bucks. They wanted 130 at the dealership. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer. You can figure that out. Okay, now you got your door handles on. You can just reverse process. We're going to put the panel back on. You want to make sure the cable that activates all this is in its little clip. It snaps into the side of the door. That gives it some stability. And we're going to make sure everything's lined up. Your pull-up lock, make sure it's lined up with your panel. And then this sits on top. Make sure your window's up. And you line it up with that rubber edge. And if it's not lined up right, you're going to get water in there. So make sure it's lined up right. And one of the biggest things is make sure when you go to put this door panel back on that the little plastic tabs on the back of it are lined up with the hole, because it takes nothing to break those. Make sure they're lined up exactly across from it. Hand push them in like he just did, and then give it a good smack all the way around, and then go put your nuts and your bolts back together. And we'll start down here at the bottom with these two bolts. And then once you get the two bolts in, you're going to put your face covers back on them, and they just snap in. And again, make sure you take it easy, because these are pieces of plastic and they will break. And for this old of a car, it's going to be hard to find these parts online. And if you do find them, they're going to be outrageous in price. So make sure you just take your time. Put your screw back in up here where the door handle is. Tighten everything down by hand. And put your little clip on. Now you got your little clip on. Door panels back together, and you give it a test about 4 or 5 times. And that, friends, is all you do. So why pay someone else thousands of dollars when you can do it yourself?